the 49ers make their move up, the Dolphins make their move down, then the Dolphins make their move up, and it's a crazy day of trades in the NFL with the draft roughly a month away, 5 weeks, 4 weeks, and 6 days away. Here's the thing that got it started. 49ers move from 12 up to number 3 in a trade with the Miami Dolphins. The pick that the Dolphins got as part of the Laramie Tunsil trade from Labor Day weekend of 2019, it's originally a Texans pick. It's now the 49ers pick, and the Dolphins get pick number 12, first-round pick in 2022, third-round pick in 2022, and a first-round pick in 2023. This is Kyle Shanahan's version of the RG3 trade, plain and simple. And he was the offensive coordinator in Washington 9 years ago when Washington went from 6 to 2 with 2 other first-round picks and a second-round pick. Now, the move is from 12 to 3, but it's the 12th pick, 2 first-rounders, third-round pick next year. Not exactly the same total of compensation, not exactly the same height in the draft, but it puts the 49ers at number 3, Myles, and everyone assumes they're at number 3 for one reason. They're looking for a new QB1.
Yeah, that's the only reason why you make a move of this magnitude, is to go up and to draft a quarterback, and especially in a draft where we assume there are 4 to 5 quarterbacks that are going to be drafted pretty early, at least, in that first round. So by doing this, it's almost like Kyle Shanahan's looking around and he sees his buddy Matt LaFleur is in Green Bay. He's got Aaron Rodgers, and he sees his buddy down in Los Angeles, Sean McVay. He just went and got Matthew Stafford, and it's like, well, wait a minute. No. I can't just have Jimmy Garoppolo, and I can't just be doing this anymore. I have to go get my guy, and I have to get somebody who I can believe that I can train in order to be an elite quarterback that's going to not just get me to the Super Bowl, but win the Super Bowl. Because we got a defense that is playoff ready, that is playoff caliber, obviously, as long as it's healthy. They just have to be able to make sure that they've got the offense to match it.
And the whole Believe Nothing vibe that we played at the top of the show was in honor of things that have been said and are being said about the 49ers' commitment to quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, who is entering the next to last year of his long-term deal, 5 years, $27.5 million, due to make $25 million in total compensation this year from the 49ers. First, let's hear from John Lynch last month when, as we told you at the time, he said what he had to say. Here he is.
If he's injury-free, is there any doubt in your mind that Jimmy Garoppolo is your quarterback when you line up in September?
No, not at all. I mean, I really believe that he, I just look at the numbers. I mean, he's 24 and 9, 25 and 9 when he's played. The being available is a big part of this thing. So like I said, we probably, as a stated goal, we have to insulate ourselves better, and we got to have better options if he's not there. But, I've watched people go through this in the career where they struggle. It happened to me early, and then I went 8 years without missing a practice. So I believe that things can happen. I believe they will for him. And I really believe that Jimmy is our guy.
Now, that's what he said then. And today they're putting the word out that Jimmy is still the guy. Shefty had the anonymous source saying Jimmy is here to stay. He's our guy this year. Why does that have to be anonymous if that's true? Why is it an unnamed source? I know that that's kind of how the sausage gets made, but this is something that if it's true, the 49ers should be able to attach a name to it, right? We have no intent to trade Percy Harvin. At least Rick Spielman was willing to say it so he could be called out on it later. If they trade or cut Jimmy Garoppolo, it's kind of hard to say, whoa, but if that unnamed source that told Shefty that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on the team this year. So I guess there's still a chance he will be. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. He'd have to take a lot less money, I think, to stay. And he'd have to know that if he gets cut, whatever the 49ers are offering him is as good or better than what someone else would pay him if he became a free agent. But I think the chances of Jimmy Garoppolo returning to the 49ers at $25 million this year, Myles, are very, very small at this point. And if they would do it, they're stupid.
Oh, absolutely. Look, and it's only going to take, I think, a little under $3 million in dead money to cut him. There's no reason why Jimmy Garoppolo should be back on the same contract that he's at right now. There's no reason why, especially if you have made this move to trade up to 3, as we said to start the show. You only do that if you are picking up a quarterback. So at this point, if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, you're looking around and you're thinking, man, this is probably not the best thing for me. Maybe you start thinking, maybe I should request a trade. And I don't know how many people out there would say, yeah, I'm going to trade for this contract from Jimmy Garoppolo right now, because if it's basically a situation where either he gets traded and somebody takes on that contract, or then the 49ers decide that they're going to cut him, and then somebody maybe swoops in and says, hey, 49ers, we'll give you this, but Jimmy, you're going to have to redo your contract in order to come here with us. It's just a situation right now where Jimmy Garoppolo is probably not in the best shape from a financial standpoint, at least going into this next year, because look, he's got a lot to prove, because unfortunately he just has not stayed healthy for the balance of his career when he's been a starter for the 49ers. So there's going to be some probably tough conversations that are going to have to happen. But I think, from the starting standpoint, no, we should not be believing folks right now, especially if they're just saying anonymously, oh yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo is here to stay. I don't think so, because, for whether it was Dave Gettleman, saying that we didn't sign him to trade him, and then drinking the water, and that water bottle in that is, the supporting player, and it's hilarious. You can't believe what they're saying right now.
There is one way to make a trade happen, and the parallel would be what the Raiders were able to do with Trent Brown, who took a restructured contract, less money, a path to free agency after 1 year as part of a trade to the New England Patriots. The 49ers could say to Garoppolo and to whoever his top suitor may be, let's say it's the Patriots again, here's what we're going to do. We will eventually cut him, but we're not cutting him until whenever we feel like it. We're not cutting him until the first day of training camp. You want him now? You want to get it started now? Jimmy, you take whatever the Patriots would pay you as a free agent. Patriots, you give us something, and we do this now. Otherwise, we're content to carry $25 million on our salary cap. We already had it budgeted. We're good to go. And if we draft a quarterback with the 3rd overall pick, it's not like it's a huge cap number for this year tied up in that guy. So that's a way to do it, when it otherwise would be a situation where all Jimmy Garoppolo has to say is, I'm not reducing my salary at any bit at all. You're going to have to cut me. The 49ers have the benefit of waiting. We're in the out years of the contract where there isn't a trigger that makes money guaranteed. There's no roster bonus. There's nothing that the 49ers have to do this year to make it happen. And you know what? Jimmy Garoppolo could get out of it. He could say, I'll take less this year, and we wipe out the final year of my contract, so I'll become a free agent after this season. That's a way that a trade could happen, because we've seen that template between the Raiders and the Patriots. So that's a possibility. But again, no one's paying Jimmy Garoppolo $25 million this year. No one in their right mind should be paying Jimmy Garoppolo $25 million this year, in large part because he has not proven he can stay healthy. The market's softened. He can't stay healthy. And the system works, but it's not because of him that the system works. So people say to me all the time, why do you hate Jimmy Garoppolo? I don't hate Jimmy Garoppolo. I like honesty with the audience. I'm not going to shake pom-poms just for the sake of saying go 49ers, so 49ers fans are happy with what they hear when they tune into this show. Who does that serve, really, folks? I mean, seriously, there are plenty of other networks, well, at least one, where you will get pom-pom waving all the time, and you're rarely going to get any real criticism, especially in the morning. Do you really want that, or do you want to know what's really going on? Do you want to know what people are really saying and what people really think? Myles, you don't need to respond to this. You still have a career in front of you. I'm on the back nine. I'm on the final 3. I'm on that par 3 right before you hole out and go drink a beer and eat a hamburger. So, not really. I'm going to die with my boots on. The question is, when will that happen? But what was I saying again? I don't hate Jimmy Garoppolo.
Keep talking. I don't know.
I like truth. I like honesty. I like authenticity. And I like quarterbacks who can play. Period. Call me crazy. I like quarterbacks who can play.
Well, who are able to play is availability, right? I mean,
correct.
That's what people all talk about. In that clip we played of John Lynch, he even was talking about how Jimmy Garoppolo has to be available. And when he plays, and he has to be able to play in order for him to play well, right? So that step A has to come before step B. So I think it makes sense what you're saying, that you don't necessarily have to be a Jimmy Garoppolo hater in order to think, yes, Jimmy Garoppolo needs to actually be out there in order for him to have some sort of value to the 49ers. And, well, at this point, though, I believe Jimmy Garoppolo has a no-trade clause. I saw that, I've seen that reported. So
right.
He would have,
he would have to waive it. Right.
Yeah.
Look, Myles, the no trade clause.
What did I do?
Is no. You didn't do anything. But no one is trading for a starting quarterback that doesn't want to be there. The no trade clause is meaningless.
Yes, absolutely.
The Bears didn't trade for Carson Wentz because he didn't want to be there. He didn't have a no trade clause, but he didn't want to go to Chicago, so the Bears didn't make an offer. So I like to point that out when people act like the no trade clause means something. Not that you did, but people have been saying that all day.
You didn't even let me say what I was going to say.
Sorry. It triggered me. I
know.
It's as bad as calling me an old timer.
I guess so. But no, I just think that if it has to be that, all it matters is that, as you just said, that he's going to go somewhere that he wants to be. And we would have to think that he might want to be in New England because he's already familiar with that team, with that structure, with the way that they do things, the Patriot way, if we want to go there and call it that. So it would make a lot of sense if Jimmy Garoppolo were to say, hey, if this is the way it's going to be, let's just trade me back to the Patriots and we'll see if we can work something out. And maybe he could do exactly as you were saying before about the Trent Brown thing, right? He could do his own little version of that, figure out the way to get back there, reduce the contract to whatever they need it to be so that he can go back to where he would want to be and play for New England and play in an offensive system he already knows. That's why I brought up the trade clause.
You were right.
Goodness.
Yes. It's funny. I see a tweet from Tim Kawakami of The Athletic from just before we went on the air. I think a lot of people are completely misreading the Garoppolo situation. The 49ers think they can win the Super Bowl this season. That isn't likely with the rookie quarterback starting unless they get a tremendous offer. Why give up the Super Bowl shot by moving Garoppolo? No. You're not going to pay Garoppolo $25 million. You're not going all in for a quarterback right now. To get a quarterback right now and keeping Garoppolo and paying him $25 million and having a rookie third overall pick that you gave up all that stuff to get on the bench behind him as his backup. That isn't happening. Kyle Shanahan made this move because there is one or two or three quarterbacks that he would be happy to get in that spot. And let's pivot to that angle here because I think the 49ers are going to do everything they can. They will burn every reporter they can. They will lie to everyone they can to try to build a trade market for Jimmy Garoppolo. And go ahead and swallow the hook if you want to. Tim Kawakami, Adam Schefter, anyone else, because I choose to believe they're lying because they have a reason to. They want to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, and they want to get back the second-round pick they gave up for him 4 years ago. I don't think they're keeping him. So, regardless of whether or not they keep him, you've got three picks. Jaguars, Jets, 49ers. Jaguars take Trevor Lawrence. Jets take Zach Wilson, assuming they do. We don't know that.
Probably.
We don't know that.
Yes.
Maybe Robert Saleh said something to Kyle Shanahan that got Shanahan's attention. But even if the Jets aren't sold on Wilson, you have to worry about the Jets trading out of that spot to someone who is. So you have to be content to see Lawrence and Wilson go. And then who do you take at 3? And Shanahan already he would not be giving up those first-round picks if he was not a complete believer in Lawrence, Wilson, and another guy. We just don't know who the other guy is. Sims, close friend of Shanahan, although Shanahan doesn't talk to him because Sims is a big mouth, even without the influence of the things he smokes on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. But even then, he's not going to trust him. So Mac Jones is the guy that Sims thinks is most game ready, learn Shanahan's system, come in, make the throws, get it done. So it's Mac Jones. Look, it's Mac Jones, Trey Lance, or Justin Fields. And there are people out there saying it's Lance or Fields. Sims thinks it's Mac Jones. Whoever it is, there's a guy after Lawrence and Wilson that Shanahan believes in enough to give up 12th overall pick, 2 future first-rounders, third-round pick. That means you're putting that guy on the field. You're not doing that so you can just say, you sit and learn for a year like Patrick Mahomes did. That's not working. That's not happening because they wouldn't do this if they believed in Jimmy Garoppolo. See, if you believe in Jimmy Garoppolo, you don't make this move. If you don't believe in Jimmy Garoppolo, you don't make this move and say, well, we're sticking with Jimmy for one more year. That's why it's all BS, in my opinion. Watch, Garoppolo will be the quarterback wire to wire, and they'll win the freaking Super Bowl.
Wow, there's a lot that I could respond to there that you just went there. But I think the one thing that you didn't say, but there was a lot that you said, was that if the Niners knew that the Jets were not going to go after a quarterback, then it probably would make sense that the Niners would go up to number 2 instead, right? Because you got to think about this. Robert Saleh is coming from San Francisco. So ostensibly, those guys are going to talk a little bit. I feel like if the Jets were in a position where they were going to stick with Sam Darnold and they weren't actually going to either draft Zach Wilson or whoever else at number 2 overall, then they would probably be more inclined to trade back. Maybe it wouldn't be with San Francisco because that's a little bit too far from them, but there would probably be something where you're saying to Kyle Shanahan, if you're Robert Saleh, hey man, if you want this number 2 overall pick, come and get it because we're not going to draft a quarterback. So if there's not that knowledge, then it just seems like the Jets are probably going to stay at 2 overall and they're going to draft their next QB. And then from there, you're going to have the 49ers who are going to pick 3rd overall. It's almost a little bit like, I think, when the Rams traded up to 1 back in 2016 and they get Jared Goff, and the Eagles knew that, so they still traded up to 2, and they said, yes, we're going to get Carson Wentz. That's the guy we want anyway. So there just has to be some sort of understanding or some sort of knowledge that you're going to get who you want in order to make this kind of deal happen, because it's not just this year's first round pick, it's 2022 and 2023. You don't just give that up if you're not getting the guy who you know you want.
Yep, I agree with you completely. And I think that moving to 3 is a concession that it's going to be Lawrence Wilson. And then you have the run of the board after those first 2. If it's Jones, if it's Lance, if it's Fields, you get the guy you want, and you've already decided that's your guy. And again, this is just common sense. Sometimes you have to ignore what sources are telling you or whatever PR spin a team is trying to fill your head with, and just look at it and say, as I said, you don't make this move if you're content to stick with Jimmy Garoppolo. If you're content to stick with Jimmy Garoppolo, he's your guy. So by making this move, you're telling the world you can't continue with Jimmy G. They're just being more sly about it than the Rams were, plain and simple. The Rams showed their cards and what they have to do. They had to give up a first-round pick to get Jared Goff off the books because of all that guaranteed money. So I think we're on the same page. And I think it's Jones. I believe Sims. I think it's going to be Jones, Mac Jones, the Alabama quarterback who looks like a throwback and looks goofy and clunky in his uniform, like Bobby Lane or Joe Cap, way before your time, before my time for the most part too. But yeah, who are they? Thank you. But he can get it done, and he has. And is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that this trade happens just days after we saw Mac Jones throw the ball at his pro day workout? I don't think it's a coincidence that that's when it got finalized.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.